So the consequences of this is it's changed our media environment. Mass media had been the predominant way that people receive information, mainly done by big companies, such as the ones that I've always worked for. That's changing to a degree. People are starting to pick and choose things. People are starting to get information that may be different than other people. No one's all on the same page anymore. If you go to MySpace, for instance, or Facebook, a good example. What was the most recent figure? I've been traveling now for about 3 weeks, and I'm out of date, strangely enough. I believe they've just announced 500 million people on Facebook. Now, that's certainly a mass media, 500 million, yet every individual user sees something different than every other user on Facebook based on what their network of friends and interests is. So is that a mass media? Or a massive media used in an individual way? And people are going to have the ability to choose. We can't stop that. We have to find a way as media professionals of adjusting to match our business to how they now consume media on these devices in these ways. And indeed, there's less ability nowadays for the press to create a common agenda for people, to make sure everybody's receiving the information. I get into arguments with other professors. It's like, well, what if somebody just wants Britney Spears stories? Well, frankly, that's their democratic right. So it's going to change our societies to a degree here. It's an issue we're going to have to deal with. So are there solutions for these problems, for these changes? Well, certainly people naturally want to know what's going on around them. The need for journalism, for entertainment, for information isn't going to change. There will always be a demand for that. I've mentioned my soccer analogy here. We have some distribution problems. Information exists, but it's not necessarily getting to the right people overall. What was the figure I heard yesterday from some of the people who I would talk to on the expatriate percentage of the population in Singapore? A quarter? 20%? You know, certainly there's a lot of people who have very diverse interests. We've got to find a way to satisfy those people. And not just that, but there's Singaporeans with all sorts of diverse interests. The stories exist. We have to find a way of putting together our media infrastructure and industries to match the stories and get them to the right person. Because right now, people are hunting and gathering. Every time you go to Google and try to search something, you're hunting and gathering for information. And that's a very primitive way to get information. And it's a very big business opportunity if you're a media professional, is solving a way to satisfy that need for people. There's a concept called Web 3.0. Web 3.0 are technologies being developed to try and find ways to get the right information, the information a person wants, to that individual person. This is a project that's been developed for about 10 years now by a gentleman by the name of Sir Tim Berners-Lee, who's the inventor of the web. This is what a lot of computer scientists are working on. In fact, they were working on the web in the 80s before most of you heard about it. I didn't hear about it till the 90s. This is something we're going to be seeing in these next 10 years, is the ability to find ways to get information to people. Because if you were to go into a grocery store, and rather than being able to shop on the shelves, instead the clerk just handed you a bag and saying, here's the common stuff we're giving to everybody, you probably wouldn't patronize that store much. You'd instead want to pick and choose, which of course is what we're doing online. We've got to find a way of changing the infrastructure of the media companies, the media industry, to satisfy these demands for people to gravitate to their interests. And a lot of people are talking about the iPad. The iPad, I think, is another brilliant development. Having something that is portable, small like that, capable of multimedia, it's certainly going to change the magazine industry in major ways, and maybe to a degree the newspaper industry. I don't think it'll change all the declines, because I think that's a content problem. But we're moving into an era where we will have portable devices. Actually, sir, I'm pointing at you because if you've got your cell phone right now, well, one of the problems with mobile phones is the screen's too small, but the iPhone or something like that if you could put it in their pocket or purse, it makes it a much better device. I know people are using the iPad now for TV, a portable TV. Who would have thought of that? In my country, the number one downloaded application for the iPad is for National Public Radio. I mean, there's not even any, visual on it, but people are using it as a radio device. And we're starting to see the practicality, some flexible versions of this starting to be developed. And I think around 2015 you're going to start seeing devices that are portable and flexible, capable of doing video and audio, basically iPads without the backing. The equivalent of the laptop screen, but flexible. This is the LG and Philips model. I've actually handled this one and used it, and you can roll it up into about a 2-centimeter cylinder, put it in your pocket. It's got the CPU, the battery, the wireless chip on there, does video, audio, has a touchpad. These will certainly revolutionize how we access information. I'm going to be seeing this during our lifetime in the next 5 years. Actually, that's a better version of it. So I think this is going to be an interesting time for us. And forgive me for going on a little bit of length here. I'm running a few minutes over my time on it here. But I think there is a revolution going on right now in media in terms of what's out there, what's happened during our lifetime that's reshaping the landscape, reshaping our businesses, our society. I wish I had the answers. If I did, I wouldn't be speaking to you right now. Very kindly, I have to say that. I'd be enjoying my villa in the south of France if I had those answers. But we're in a revolutionary time, much like 1776 to 1789 with democracy sprouting, or the Industrial Revolution. We don't know all the answers to these things, but you are living through the greatest change in the history of media. You are there, and you're the people using it. In fact, a lot of the answers to this aren't going to be from gray-bearded people like myself, but people younger, some of the young people in the audience. You're the ones who are going to develop this new world, and this is a great new world. Thank you.